Synchronicity, I don't know if you have a word for synchronicity, but myself and my family have now, especially in recent weeks, we have started documenting. We've got this little book called the Book of Synchronicity now, and the synchronicities start in the morning. And by synchronicity, I mean what people would typically call coincidence, or whether it's kind of a telepathic thing where we're all saying the same word or reading a word, or someone arrives or a phone call comes in. It's like, oh, I just had a dream about you, and then the phone call comes in, and all these seemingly bizarre coincidences, and they happen from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. And the only thing, as we are becoming aware of that system of synchronicity that we are bringing ourselves, the synchronicities are becoming more profound and hilarious, and it's giving us extra. We just know now. We know. And like, we wake up and we just say, okay, when's it coming? And it comes. Like and they're hilarious and they're brilliant, and some of them are profound. Some of them are just so beyond, coincidental that it's hilarious. And I feel like the only real change we made was assuming that we are creating this reality for ourselves, assuming that every moment that we are inhabiting is there for our benefit, and letting go of negative fear-based beliefs when they arrive in the form of anxiety or in the form of a uncomfortable situation. I feel like nothing has to be, this whole COVID-19 thing has been a gift in a sense. It's been a kind of this monastic opportunity to focus in on things like synchronicity and our experience as a family and as creators of our reality in a sense. I wonder, we're on the same page, I feel, but
oh yeah, we are. That's where growth takes you. What you've done is as you have walked the talk, so to speak. You've been there, you've considered it, now you're living it. As you walk the talk, you begin to develop the intuitive side of yourself, rather than just the intellectual side. In our culture, the intellectual side is important. The intellectual side is what earns your living. That intellectual side is needed in everyday stuff. That intuitive side just sits there and never gets used. It's not seen very, it's seen to not be very reliable, and it's seen to not be very accurate. It's kind of that gut feeling that's sometimes right and sometimes wrong. Well, as you develop and your worldview gets bigger and you expand, that intuitive side begins to grow and begins to connect. And all these synchronicities are because you're developing the intuitive side now. And the things you see and the events you have and with your family and all of that, you're all developing your intuitive sides. And that's really, really good, because that is a marvelous part of you. We have both. We have the intuitive side and we have the intellectual side. And all of the paranormal stuff, along with synchronicities, all happen on the intuitive side. They don't happen on the intellectual side, only on the intuitive side. You can access those databases I was talking about, but it's only through the intuitive side that you can access those databases. Anyway, that's just part of your development, of things that you're going through. And the fact that you're doing it with your family is great. You should do it with your family. It's a huge advantage to your children that they're a part of this exercising their intuitive side, and that they can live in an intellectual world that the intellect can deal with, but also live in an intuitive world where there's other forces and things going on that's outside the physical matter. It's the intuitive side, you see, and developing that as a whole being will enhance their lives tremendously. So it's just, that's the normal. You're taking the process of going from intellectual, because you figured all this out in the last 10 years. You've been thinking about it. You've been reading about it. You've been getting ideas. And now those ideas are starting to turn into living it. And as they do, your intuitive side is beginning to grow. And those synchronicities will become a part of your life. what's in your future is that as you continue down this path, you will have access to information and data that is not accessible from the physical and intellectual side. You'll know, you'll have things, everything you need, everything you really need will fall at your feet just as you need it. Not a week before, not the week after, just as you need it. Yeah. And as you look back at things, you'll say, oh man, you'll think, gee, I should have gotten that earlier, or I wasn't ready for that yet. But then as you look back at it, you'll say, no, it was just perfect. It's just what I needed at the time, to maybe twist my tail to get me to get into gear, to see something or to understand something. And you will realize that your life will be a whole, it'll be integrated whole. Your life will be a meditation. You'll be intuitive and you'll be intellectual both. You develop both sides, not just one. You become a balanced human being. And with that will come a whole stream of intuitive information out of those databases and out of other places. You'll gain understandings, awareness. You'll understand where people are come from, what they're feeling. You'll be able to see things through other people's eyes. What's that person's realities like? And usually when you do that, you start to have empathy for them and compassion for them because, okay, maybe they're arrogant and they're rude and they're this and that, but once you see reality through their eyes, you see how frightened they are, how terrified they are of all kinds of things, and the games they're playing, how miserable they are. And instead of being angry at their arrogance, you feel compassionate for their arrogance. You may not be able to do anything about it, but then, well, there's somebody that's slogging it out, down in the trenches that hasn't figured out yet that, fears the problem. So this will become part of your life. And you won't just, in the beginning, it's like you're here or there. I'm here in this physical world and I'm in an intellectual state. I'm there, I'm out of body, I'm meditating, I'm remote viewing, I'm communicating telepathically, I'm doing all these other things, but you're not both. You're either one or the other. As time goes by, your reality will have both in it all the time. You won't be here or there. You will have those connections and that information, and the left brain and the right brain, the intuitive and the intellect will all just flow, and you'll get what you need when you need it. You will be happy. Life will be good. You'll be cheerful. There isn't anything that could happen that would make you not happy, even if something really hard happens, something really difficult. You can deal with it because you're a part of the bigger thing, and you realize that everything is just the way it needs to be for people to grow up. All right, things are really hard. People have pain, but that's because they need that pain to show them that they're dysfunctional, to grow up, and that everything's just the way it needs to be to help people grow up. But it's still, they have free will. They have to grab the opportunity and grow. Nobody can force it. Nobody can do it for them. They have to figure it out on their own. That's the thing. So while they're trying to figure it out, you can take a deep breath and give a sigh and say, yeah, okay, life is a little, I live in a place that's got a lot of dysfunction in it. I don't feel angry at those people. I just know they have a long way to go and they're struggling. So I'll have to live in this dysfunction, but I'm happy, I'm smiling. My family, we have a lot of fun, We're seeing reality unfold itself to us, to teach us, and we're learning, and that feels good. So it's just going to get better, and you'll see bigger and bigger pictures, and your life will become as much in the physical as the non-physical. You'll have the physical and the non-physical, the intellect and the intuition all working together. See, that intuitive part of you is really non-physical. That's your connection to the non-physical. Your intellect's your connection to the physical. And you're out of balance if you're all one and not much of the other. You're in balance when you have both. And you're now going through a process where you're developing that awareness that is beyond the physical. That's all the stuff that's happening to you, all these synchronicities. They just pop out of nowhere. That all comes out of the intuitive side. Now, if you take somebody who's very intellectual, very, take some scientist that's a materialist and so on, and they're very, strong, that's opinion, they won't have any of those things. So synchronicity, bullshit. That doesn't happen. It just seems to happen. That's a hallucination. But see, from your own experience that that's just not true. And it'll never happen to that guy. He'll never experience that kind of synchronicity because he's not open to it. He hasn't grown that much yet to be open to that side. He's all out of balance. He's a big intellect, and the intuitive side is kind of shriveled up. Doesn't work for him. So he'll deny that it even exists because, well, if it existed, then why don't I get it? Therefore, it couldn't possibly exist.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. You're growing up, and people stuck in that materialist meme are really kind of stuck there. But now you took the materialist meme, saw a bigger picture, didn't really care a whole lot other than it was a bigger picture that includes bigger things than just this material world, you thought, and so on, and that was good enough. That's all you needed, was to see this bigger picture, and you allowed your intuition to be a part of that bigger picture, and after that, it's all easy. It all just comes together as you accept it and as you grow with it. The only thing that knocks you off course is fear and beliefs. You get over those, and your life will become a meditation. The remote viewing, the telepathy, communications, the whatever, the using your intent to heal, all of those will become very easy because all of those are skills that are intuitive skills. Just like doing math is an intellectual skill, they're also intuitive skills. And those intuitive skills are the paranormal stuff. And that will become a part of your life as well. Not necessary, it doesn't have to, but you seem like the kind of person that as you get to these things that are available, you want to reach out and touch them. So you probably will do that. But yeah, I don't see any problem with where you're going, and even with your philosophy and how reality works. It's working for you. My philosophy is use what works. The stuff works for you, and I tell people about my own things. If you resonate with things I say, well, use it. If you don't, leave it alone. Use whatever works for you. Let go of whatever stultifies you. It's not a matter of being right or wrong. It's a matter of growing or not growing.